Are you a football fan? Have you ever found yourself wondering, what in the world was that ref thinking? Well, Mike D, the referee, is here to help you. Join me on Whistle Talk as I talk to professionals on the field and in the booth to help you understand what is going on inside the mind of a football official. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to another episode of Whistle Talk. I am Mike D, the referee, being joined once again by my buddy from Oklahoma, wearing his Sooner shirt, proud Sooner Nation, Mr. Daniel Chamberlain. What's going on, Daniel? How are you today?
Oh man, another wonderful day, brother. It's last day of school for my kid, so he skipped, played hooky the last day. He turned 7 yesterday, so his birthday gift, one of them was no school for you.
That's an awesome birthday gift. My birthday comes up in about a month from now that we're recording, but I'll be in the middle of finals at that point in time, so I can't take those days off. But it's a
Well,
good birthday present for me, knowing that graduation is right around the corner. So Daniel's joining us once again for another episode here, going into our NFHS rules tonight. We are going to talk about rule number 4 in the NFHS book. So we're going to be talking about putting the ball in play, dead ball, spots, different things like that. This one is a relatively short and easy one, which I say all the time. And then Daniel asked me an awesome question, and I'm like, and that's why we got him here. But before we get going, I want to throw it back out there to everybody again. Please hit those those subscribe buttons if you're enjoying what you're listening to. Helps out with those silly algorithm thingamabobber jobbers that I still have no idea what the heck they are, but they tell us that they're good for us, good for the podcast world. So hit those like buttons, hit those subscribe buttons. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, give me a comment, give me a review. Same thing on Daniel's shows. You can find Mr. Chamberlain multiple spots. I'll let him throw that out there to you.
Yeah. The football coaching podcast is my the primary show that I say primary. I'm doing them both now all the time. So, football coaching podcast with Joe Daniel. You can find me at the Coaching 101 podcast. I'm over there with Kenny Simpson. Got a lot of fun stuff going on. Season 6 just started a couple days ago, so lots of good stuff going on there. What else would it? Chamberlain Football Consulting, which is where I'm just helping youth coaches generally, but any coach really, install new fun stuff, do film study, problem solving, breakdown film, whatever you need to do. We're doing it over there. So, yeah, find one of those things, hit me up.
Yep. And once again, hit those like and subscribe buttons on Daniel's shows too. And before we really dive into this episode, by the time that this recording is going to come out, we will be just past Memorial Day weekend. So I would be remiss not to say thank you to all the military people that are out there. I know it's not Veterans Day, it's Memorial Day, but it's even more of a somber day for us to truly make sure that we remember what we have and why we have what we have. So once again, thank you. And Mr. Chamberlain here is a veteran himself. So again, thank you, Daniel, for your service and for all the services that are out there. And I also want to throw a little plug into my buddies at Vets to Refs too. They're doing an excellent job of getting the veterans involved in the officiating world. And I know there's also some coaching worlds too that they're working with. So but once again, thank you to all the military people that are out there. And hopefully you're remembering why Memorial Day is there and it's not just the beginning of summer. So hopefully you had a good weekend. All right. So, Mr. Chamberlain, we have a rule number 4, ball in play, dead ball, and out of bounds. So, again, this one's a little bit of a shorter chapter in our book. I want to say the actual pages are like 3 to 4 pages in our rule book. So it's not one that hopefully we're spending much time on, but it is one that we do have to talk about because there's that word in there that I don't like us talking about, inadvertent whistles, that we're going to kind of touch on a little bit in this episode.
Yeah.
So Daniel, if you want to take slide number 1, take it away.
Absolutely. Putting the ball to play, Rule 4-1. Balls shall be put in play by a kickoff started for each half or the resume play after a try or successful field goal. Free kick shall put the ball in play after a safety, replay a free kick down for a foul penalty or inadvertent whistle, or a free kick chosen after fair catch, which is awarded a free kick or replay of down after a free kick. Snap shall put the ball in play when a free kick is not specified. That's pretty easy.
Mind blowing stuff right there. Yeah. That's football, baby.
There we go.
All right. So 4-1 continues talking about the snap or free kick must be made between hash marks. We call them ticks a lot of time, but the hash marks. And after being put in play, the ball remains live until the down ends. Mr. Chamberlain, do you know what ends the down?
I mean, it has to be. This is one of those trick questions, I feel like. It's like I could be really simple with it, or it's a trick thing.
Well, what's the name of this podcast?
Whistle. So a whistle.
Nope. That's where I tricked you. The play ends itself. The whistle happens after the play. So that's one thing we will talk about as we dive more into our rules and different infractions like that. But there's going to be plays where the whistle, you might not even hear a whistle, but the play kills itself. So and we're going to talk about the different things of what constitutes a ball carrier being down. But the player's down, the play is over at that point in time. So, so snap or free kick between the hash marks, and after being put in play, the ball remains live until the down ends. Ball remains dead, and the down has not begun if the snap or free kick attempt before the ball is ready for play, such as a foul for delay a game. The ball remains dead for an illegal snap or snap infraction or other snap infractions, and the ball remains dead for other dead ball fouls. So our false start penalties, our neutral zone infraction penalties, those are going to be dead ball fouls because the snap hasn't happened at that point in time. Your illegal motions, your holdings, your blocking the backs, those are going to be live ball fouls. So we are going to eventually break those down into more digestible bites. So here you go, sir. 4-2. Take it away.
Dead ball and end of down, 4-2. So game official or officials indicate the ball remains dead by sounding his whistle immediately when a foul occurs before a snap or free kick. Game official indicate that the ball has become dead and down is ended by sounding his whistle when the ball has become dead by rule. So that's obviously what you just said. The ball is already dead by rule, and then the whistle just indicates it. And then the keyword, oh, look at that. Keyword indicates. Ball is dead by rule, not by the whistle.
And that's the one where the coaches, and even myself, I mean, it's still something that was foreign to me before getting into officiating. But we're teaching all the kids, play to the, not just the whistle, but play to the echo of the whistle. So you really want, especially as an offensive lineman, that was one thing that was always ingrained in us, the echo of the whistle, when that whistle stops flowing. You can kind of get away with that a little bit as a lineman, but not so much as a tackler. So if you're coming in after that runner is already down and we haven't had a chance to bring that whistle from our hand to our mouth and blow the whistle, you could still get hit with a late hit, banged with a late hit penalty. So the play is dead by rule. All right. So the ball in possession, dead and down is ending 4-2-2. So what stops it is the runner goes out of bounds. Forward progress has stopped, which that is going to then usually be indicated by the whistle. That one is a touchy one because if the runner is getting driven back and somebody comes in and really blasts them, again, they technically can get a late hit penalty in that one because forward progress. But that's one we do want to. We really want to get that one with the whistle to let everybody know because we don't want that runner popping out.
Right.
And then the play is dead or down when any part of the person other than their hand or foot touches the ground. So your forearm hits the ground. Are you down?
No.
You are in high school.
Sorry.
Yep.
Any part other than, yes.
Yeah. So the exceptions are few and far between. The one play that we will have, um, and you'll see it at all levels, is a runner on top of another defender where their body has not touched the ground. We've seen it with very smart ball carriers of continuing their legs going, their leg drive, and popping right up, putting their hand on the ground, popping up, and continuing going. So that's going to be one of the major exceptions because technically they're not down. But now, if they're lying on top of a defender and their progress is also stopped, then we're going to kill it, even though they might not technically be on the ground.
So the back of the hand used to be a big point. I can remember when I was younger, the rule book says anything but your hand or foot is the back of your hand to make you down or not.
I'm going to go with yes, because I don't know too often that a player uses their back of their hand for support. If that player is going down, it's probably going to eventually be the wrist to the forearm that's going to make contact. But if somehow the back of your hand kind of just grazes the grass, then it's all going to be in the context of how the back of the hand actually hits the ground, to be honest with you. So that could be one of the exceptions and the gray areas too. But technically by rule, the back of the hand, again, thinking about the ball carrier going down to the ground, the back of the hand is going to lead to all the other parts probably. So if they are just able to brace themselves with the back of their hand, we're going to call it the wrist most likely.
Gotcha.
All right. So some of the other exceptions here, and these ones are key ones here. So exceptions to the body part on the ground other than the hand or foot, and this is going to come into our field goal and extra point type of scenarios. So the place kick holder with a teammate in a kicking position. So that is actually a very key element of it too. So they must have basically being back 7 yards or more in some type of field goal or extra point type of formation. So you're not your normal scrimmage play.
Right.
So the knee can be on the ground as they catch or recover and place the ball for the kick. You must rise off your knee before they advance, hand, kick, or pass the ball. So with that one again, knee on the ground, when you catch or recover and place the ball, you're good. But you must rise off your knee before you advance, hand, kick, or pass the ball. So you can't pass the ball from your knees as that holder. Knee on the ground, they raise up to catch or recover, say a bad snap, and then they immediately return back and put their knee down. We're going to let that go as long as now it's then preceded by the kick. So you must rise off your knee again before they can advance and kick. The ball becomes dead.
Okay, just 1 second.
If the holder muffs the snap or fumbles, recovers after his knee has been off the ground, and then comes back to the ground other than the hand or foot while in possession. So that one we will kill. So if they come up, go down, and it's not going to be a kick, it's going to be killed at that point in time. They can't come back up again.
So is it the formation that gives him the ability to do all that from his knee? So if you come out and spread 2 by 2, you can't start on a knee. It has to be a kicking formation, correct?
Correct. Yep. And it's the same thing now when you talk about the centers being protected in the center in the long snapping position. So the same kind of concept you could kind of play into that.
Awesome.
Now, one of them that is not true now is if it's the punter. If it's a low snap and the punter goes down to catch the ball and they catch the ball on their knee, we're blowing it dead right then and there. They cannot then rise up to kick it. So it's going to be for your field goal, extra point type of kick. All right. Loose ball becomes dead and the down has ended. So, Daniel, take this one.
Loose ball becomes dead and down is ended, so live ball goes out of bounds. Any forward pass, legal or illegal, is incomplete or simultaneously caught. Any legal free kick or scrimmage kick breaks the plane of ours end zone. Scoring attempt apparently failed after breaking plane of ours goal line. The exception here would be scoring attempt kick touches the upright, crossbar, official, or our player in the end zone and I don't even know
Carries
if I
over.
through the goal. Basically, it goes through the goal. Touching is ignored.
Yep. So if you got a defender standing in the end zone that goes up and tries to block a field goal while in the end zone and the ball goes away, then we're going to continue that as being a good extra point or a good field goal. So it's one of those oddities. You don't see it too often. A low line drive field goal where the field goal hits the kicker. I'm sorry, the field goal hits the umpire and then carries over the uprights. That field goal is still good. Same thing if it's going to be an extra point try. So all of those things still keep the ball in play. So your first touching is going to be ignored, or the touching itself is ignored. So if it hits the upright, hits the crossbar, a ref, or a receiving player while they're in the end zone and carries over the goal, you got your field goal, you got your extra point. So it's one of those oddities.
Very, very odd. Those are the ones you got to read 2 or 3 times, and like you almost need diagrams for that one.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I've ever seen that one. I have seen it off of the umpire. I've seen the umpire get drilled. Luckily, I'm going to knock on some fake wood on my desk here that it was not me, but I have seen the umpires get blasted with the ball, but it didn't go through the uprights.
All right, so if I run one of my guys down there, and my kicker is 5 yards short, and my guy volleyball from the end zone, volleyballs it through, does it count or no?
So the key word there.
Team's go person.
Yep.
Can't be
not your own player.
If it touches a K player in ours end zone. So once again, if I sprint my K player into the end zone and volleyball it through, is that a good kick?
No.
Okay. I'm just trying to break the rules here. I just like it.
I know. You're weaponizing. All right. So a ball becomes dead and the down is ended. We're still on 4-2-2 here for a loose ball, which we talked about on our last segment. A loose ball will become dead if it is simultaneously caught or recovered by opposing players. Again, in this scenario, we talk baseball-wise where a tie goes to a runner. We don't ever really have a simultaneously caught ball because the chances of 2 players going up and coming down to the ground at the exact same moment is pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
The ball will become dead if it lies on the ground motionless and no player is attempting to secure possession of it. So if the punt is just lying there and I'm the kicking team and we don't go and we don't down the ball and the return team is just kind of ignoring the ball too, well, we're not just going to let the clock continue to wind and wind and wind. We're going to eventually kill it because the ball has stopped moving and nobody's making any type of attempt to get it. And the ball will become dead if it touches anything inbounds other than a player, substitute, replaced player, official, the ground, or authorized game equipment. And you're in Oklahoma, so you're not too far from Dallas. So if you're at Jerry's World and it hits the scoreboard that's overhanging, well, that's not pretty much anything that is in play. It's going to be deemed dead in a scenario like that. And that's something that pregame you'll go over with the different ground rules, kind of like what you do in baseball.
Yeah.
One that I have almost seen, because they're coming more and more predominant around here, are the drones. If it hits a drone, it technically is going to be a dead ball at that point in time. So be mindful, or get a good drone flyer on 4th down if you're on defense to knock the ball down for you.
Now, so I know in Jerry's World, that's a re-kick. If it's a punt, I don't know that anybody's throwing the ball that high. But I know that kicks, they just replay the down.
Yep.
Opposites NFL. But you're saying here, if you punt and hit a thing, it's just a dead ball. It ends the play.
It's gonna be a dead ball, but I'm not going to lie. I don't know where we're going to mark that ball. So if we're punting it and it hits the scoreboard and comes down and lands at the 50, it's probably going to be K's ball at the 50 if I had to make a guess. But I'm happy I don't work in Jerry World.
Yeah.
For this scenario, because that's one that I definitely would need to.
If it was a drone, let's say you're the visiting team, the home team has drones flying. you punt or throw or whatever and hit a drone, do you lose the down? Or is there a replay clause? Because a clause, not cause, clause to replay the down.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to take this as a guess, but I'm going to say that we're probably going to replay the down. But I'm going to look into that one because technically the drones should be in the offensive backfield so that it eliminates even this opportunity from happening. So even on kickoffs, they should be basically behind the play. But yeah, to be honest with you, I am not 100% certain on that one. So dang
I know
it,
the
you got me.
drones are relatively 3 seasons ago. I tried to fly a drone at a scrimmage, and the refs were like, "That's got to come down. That can't be in the stadium." Now I had my then attempt to get around the rules was have another person stand outside the fence, fly the drone outside the fence, and they still were like, we'll cease the scrimmage if that doesn't come down, period. And I was like, So they're new in Oklahoma, if you can even use them. I'm not even sure you can. Yeah, I would have to look at the exact ruling.
So here in New Jersey, I know state association wise, we are allowed to use them. And prior to it being allowed for the games, they were allowed to be used during practice. And technically a scrimmage was a practice, so we allowed them at our scrimmages. So that was one of the caveats with it. But now the state of New Jersey does allow them.
Yeah, I wish ours would. That's kind of what we said, but the ref told me very bluntly that this is the same as a game. All game rules apply. Okay, it wasn't that big a deal.
Now our youth level, where I'm at, our youth level will not allow it, even though we abide by NFHS rules for our youth game. The head of the youth association will not allow it for whatever reason. I know there are safety aspect with the drones. They can be dangerous because those propeller blades do whip around. But if you have a smart drone pilot, that should never be an issue. So
right,
but that's here nor there. All right, for kick plays, kickers K. So the kicked ball becomes dead or downed for kick plays when K catch or recover a free kick anywhere. K catch or recover a scrimmage kick beyond the neutral zone. What if it's not beyond the neutral zone, Daniel?
Then you can still advance the ball.
Yep. So K is the first one to touch a scrimmage kick after it has come to rest beyond the neutral zone between the goal lines. If it's past the goal line, it's either going to be a touchback or a safety. I'm hoping it's not going to be a safety, that the punter didn't kick the ball backwards like my golf shots. But the ball will become dead after a valid or invalid fair catch signal when the scrimmage kick or free kick is caught or recovered by any R player beyond, in, or behind the neutral zone. So basically, if K catches or recovers it, it's going to be killed. And if it's a free kick, they technically can get a foul for that one, which we will talk about catching interference on a couple of different scenarios, which we're going to talk about in a future episode. But the ball is still going to be dead at that point in time.
Perfect.
All right. This one's a layup here for you.
Yeah, let's knock it out here. Ball becomes dead, and the down is ended. Rule 422. After any score occurs during a try, B secures possession, or it is apparent that kick has failed. B here being the defense or the team that's trying to defend the kick or try. So it's just saying if they secure possession, whatever, interception, fumble recovery, whatever, the down, it's dead, right? You cannot advance that back.
Yeah, and the more prevalent one is if they block the extra point.
Yeah.
Because the kids and a good coach is going to train their kids scoop and score, block that field goal, scoop and score, and go and make sure that we kill it. But yeah, the play is over at that point in time. The reason we want to make sure that it is apparent that the kick has failed, because if you block my extra point and I pick it up, I can still bring that in for a 2-point conversion.
I'm going to come back to that. I want to read the rest of the list. I'm going to have a question. Helmet comes completely off the runner. And we've talked about that one before, where the, illegal participation versus the ball carrier with helmet. Prosthetic limb comes
it's in the rule book.
comes completely off the runner, game official sounds his whistle inadvertently. We won't talk about that one very much. Okay, let's go back to during a try. Is a 2-point conversion considered a try?
Yes.
So if I intercept a pass on a 2-point conversion, can I return that for 2 points, or is the ball dead?
The ball is dead in high school.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Yep. And same thing, fumble, any type of turnover in that aspect.
Okay.
All right, so we've got the unholiness here, the inadvertent whistle, 4-2-3. An official blows their whistle inadvertently by mistake. Never want it to happen, but it's going to happen, especially if it's in the youth level. You see it more. And when it happens, the ball that is live now becomes dead. The down ends. So here's the one that we got to talk about is what happens. What do we do in this situation? So there's 4 situations that will possibly happen, possibly 5.
That's tough.
So, yeah, if we blow an inadvertent whistle, the legal pass, snap, or kick is already in flight, we're going to replay the down. So for whatever reason, we blow the whistle and you're passing the ball, we're going to replay the down. Number 2 is a loose ball following a backward pass, fumble, illegal forward pass or kick. The team last in possession has the option to take the ball where possession was lost or replay the down. Now, I will tell you the majority of the times they're going to look to replay the down because where they lost possession, backward pass, fumble, that type of scenario, that's not a good spot usually where they lose it. Unless now it is a fumble where they are well beyond the neutral zone, they fumble it and the ball starts going back and we blow the whistle. The team that last had possession will get the ball back where it was lost. So if it's beyond the neutral zone, that could be to their benefit. If it's behind the neutral zone, either way, you're going to have an unhappy coach on one side or the other.
Yeah, because if you're a triple option team and you're 20 yards downfield and flip the ball backwards and you get this whistle, that's not good, right? Like that's...
Well, and that's where we want to really have that slow whistle, especially on those triple option teams, because I ran the triple option and we had the quarterback keep the ball and, well, the team thought the running back had the ball and all of a sudden our quarterback is scampering down the sideline and the whistle is blowing. So we'll always remind ourselves, especially when we know we got an option team, see the ball before you blow the whistle. And this is going back to the play kills itself when the down is over. It might not be a whistle on the play because if we don't see where the ball is, you're a good triple option team. There's a good amount of times where the running back is just handing me the ball as the umpire in the middle of the field to replace it, and I don't blow the whistle. All right, inadvertent whistle, 4-2-3. The third option that coaches will have is the player in possession, team in possession has the option to take the result of the play, dead ball where the whistle was blown, or replay the down. So in that triple option scenario, that quarterback running down the sideline, they can choose to replay the down, or they can choose to take it. All right, you were 20 yards downfield. We'll take it there. Where it would have been an apparent touchdown, we can't give the apparent touchdown. We can only give you the 20 yards. And here's where it really gets fun. When a live ball foul occurs prior to the inadvertent whistle, the foul takes precedence and the penalty is administered from the basic spot. If accepted, if it's declined, we revert back to the other 3 options. So, yeah.
Don't hold.
And the last one is if you can play it off within reason, do that above all else. So, yeah, that's the deny. I didn't do it. What are you talking about?
That's CYA.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I didn't hear a whistle. What are you talking about? Now, but it's a touchy subject because, again, you're going to have a very unhappy coach on one way or the other when you do this. So,
yeah.
Again, I'm an umpire. My whistle is in my mouth pre-snap because I've got those false starts. I've got those flinches by the lineman, the quarterback, different things like that. Once that ball is snapped, I'm spitting the whistle out of my mouth because I don't want to be the one blowing that inadvertent whistle. So I've got a whistle on my neck. On our crew, our short wings have whistles on their hands. So they have to physically bring the whistle up from their side up to their mouth to blow the whistle. They're not running with the whistle in their mouth, because we've had people have an inadvertent whistle because they ran with the whistle in their mouth and they're huffing and puffing, and all of a sudden they exhale and now they blow the whistle. And, well, oops, I didn't mean that one, coach.
I was going to ask if the finger whistle is like the great equalizer here, kind of eliminates it when you physically have to make the. You may have a slower whistle, and we're telling our kids to play to the echo of the whistle, and maybe that's some later hits, but at least you aren't cutting a play short.
Correct. And that is what we really do try to do. And I do know a lot of short officials that are use the lanyard around their neck with the whistle in their mouth, pre-snap, snap, spit it out, and then use their finger whistle, or they make it. You'll see on your Saturday and Sunday televised games, you'll see them possibly have their hand around their whistle on their neck, so that they physically have to bring it up to their mouth again, so to try to get away from that inadvertent whistle. But it is the cardinal sin. It's something we really, really don't want to do. Unfortunately, this is your human error, where sometimes it happens. It's unfortunate. It sucks. But my recommendation to the officials: own it. Own it and tell the coaches, Coach, we blew that one, because they're not going to be happy. But at least if you own up to it, you may be able to get them within some type of reason to still respect you. And that's always a battle. All right, so Daniel, out of bounds and inbound spots, 4-3. Take it away.
Where do we spot the ball when it goes out of bounds, and where is it snapped? Foremost point of the ball, so common theme applies to all spots. Definition 241.5, out of bounds spot where the ball becomes dead in relation to going out of bounds. Now this is the old school, like reaching for a first down as you run out of bounds, right? The ball marks it, not the foot, not the head, the torso, none of that. The ball is what where it goes out of bounds. And then an inbound.
The same thing with your goal line too. So reaching the ball over the goal line as the runner is jumping, that's the same concept.
241.4, inbound spots, intersection of hash marks and yard line. Where will the ball be next snapped or free kicked? It would be next snapped or free kicked on that hash, right? So it would move to the nearest hash. Or if it's down between the hashes, then it's just wherever the ball was down.
100%. And so if there are any administrators that are out there, please, for everybody's sake, put hash marks on the field, because it is not mandatory for the hash marks to be in the middle of the field. They sometimes just have one intersecting line at each 5-yard mark, and then they get mad at us if we don't have the exact spot. And now all of a sudden we have 4 or 5 measurements that game, because, well, it's easy to know that, hey, they needed to get to the 44-yard line, but there's no 4-yard line. It's just a blade of grass, and now we got to measure it. So please put your hash marks. All right, so loose ball out of bounds. The out of bounds spot is the yard line through the foremost point of the ball. It's dead by touching a person that is out of bounds. So the out of bounds spots, again, is the foremost point where it is touched, and the runner goes out of bounds. It is the foremost point when a runner crosses the plane. And remember, when in possession, it's the person, not the ball. So if I go out of bounds, my foot goes out of bounds, but I'm keeping the ball in bounds, we are still out of bounds at that point in time. So that will signify what's going on with that. So
these are all pretty simple, luckily.
Yeah.
Now, wait, can we go back to that last one? Because we just said the runner goes out. Remember, the when in possession, it's the person, not the ball. But we just said if you reach the ball, but it's where the person goes out of bounds. It's if I step out, not if the ball crosses the plane.
But if you step out, if you are airborne, that's where you're going to be able to get it. So that's where
progression is location of the ball. The calling of inbounds or out of bounds is based on the person. That's what we're saying.
Yep, correct. And now, as we just mentioned, regarding the goal line, the out of bounds spot is beyond the goal line for a safety touchdown or field goal. So you got to imagine our goal line just goes on for infinity. So it is a goal line extended. It's just going and going and going. So ball touches the pylon, it is out of bounds behind the goal line. Then the above rule will work. Rule 8 tells us whether the ball will be a safety, touchback, or field goal or touchdown. So different things like that. So regarding the goal line, again, you dive and your body is out of bounds, but you're reaching that ball and it crosses that proverbial goal line. We're giving you the touchdown. Nope. And the same thing will happen if the ball is rolling on the ground. If say I'm running a toss sweep and I toss the ball and it goes awry and my running back doesn't catch the ball and the ball's now rolling and it hits the pylon, that's going to be considered in the end zone and out of bounds. So that scenario will end up as a safety.
It's so tough.
So don't do that.
Yeah.
All right. Where do we spot the ball inbounds? You kind of just mentioned this before.
Ball come. Oh, is this me?
Yep.
Yeah. So ball becomes dead between the hash marks or penalty leaves it there. The ball stays dead at the dead ball spot, so we're not moving it to a hash. Ball becomes dead in the side zones, outside the nines as the, well, I guess it's not technical. That's the top of the numbers, huh? Oh, look.
Yeah.
It's terminology.
You tried though. I like it.
Ball becomes dead in the side zones or penalty leaves it there. The ball goes to the nearest hash mark. Exceptions: a legal forward pass is incomplete, the previous spot, and lateral position. So if I chuck it to the wide side of the field and it gets blown dead way over there in the side zone, it's still coming back to the old hash marker, the old spot. Replay down due to inadvertent whistle, it goes back to where the ball was previously spotted. So if we have a penalty, let's say, well, that wouldn't be a replay down, though. That would be a dead ball foul. I mean, that would be a lawsuit. Never mind. I'm out of question. Penalties. When enforcing yardage, lateral spot applies as well for inbound.
Yep. And so now this one is going to be your key one that me as the umpire, when I'm marking off the penalties, say for a holding penalty, I need to know where that holding penalty was, because if we're going to replay it from the previous spot, then we're going to keep it on, say, if you snap the ball from the left hash and we're going back from the previous spot, we're going to go back to the left hash. But if you gained yardage and that hold happened downfield and we're going from the spot of the foul, now I'm going to go from that spot. So the lateral spot is now going to move. So if you run that toss sweep to the right, you started on the left hash, or you running it to the wide side of the field, we might have the ball on the right hash, even though there's a penalty. So it could be a replay it down, 1st and 15 instead of 1st and 10 or 1st and 20. So that would be the scenario where we do need to make sure that we have the lateral spot in play.
Perfect.
All right, Daniel, you like this one. I'm going to let you take this one too.
Yeah. So you can
designate the spot.
So this is rule 446 and 447. So Team A may designate the spot from which the ball is put in play between the hash marks for a try. So if your kicker is notoriously pushes right or left, you can go opposite, or your 2-point play, you can choose to go from the left or right hash or left middle, whatever.
Yep.
On kickoff, so you can obviously put the ball wherever you want on a kickoff. After a safety, so that means when you're doing your free kick, right, Mike? So when you're coming out to do your free kick, your punt, if you will, after a safety, after a fair catch or a awarded fair catch. So if my guy comes out and fair catches on the left hash, but I want to run a play from the right hash, I have the choice to go ahead and move the ball over there.
Yes, you do.
That's a big one to remember, because we don't get to pick where the kicking team boots it, but we do get to pick where we run our next play from. After a touchback, so same thing, if you take a knee, if you catch I guess in high school, if you catch the ball in the end zone, it's an automatic touchback. The ball touches the end zone, it's automatic touchback. You can go wherever you want. And then the start of each series in overtime. So those are very good. Do y'all have one of those, how do you remember that? How do you tell people to remember which ones allow you to pick?
To be honest with you, we don't. We don't really. I know it But unless a coach asks me specifically, I'm going to put the ball typically where the fair catch happened, or if it's a touchback, I'm going to put the ball in the middle of the field unless the coach specifically says, hey, can we move the ball to the left hash or to the right hash? Then I'll move it. And you see here with the Stars, this must be done before the referee blows the ready for play, which is then going to get your play clock going.
Right.
Not your game clock, but your play clock going. So once we get that ball set and ready to go and that play clock starts, well, now the coach can't say, oh, well, I wanted it on the left hash. Well, sorry, coach, we already blew it in. So
Right.
know what you want to do, especially it really does pertain a lot of times with your tries with the 2-point plays. A lot of teams have, depending upon if they have a righty quarterback or a lefty quarterback, a lot of 2-point plays are going to be some type of rollout action, bootleg, whatever it may be. So they want to try to get it to a wide side of the field. So it definitely comes into play with that. You're after your touchback and the fair catch we don't see often. Coaches don't typically remember that one, but it is a rule that is there. And this one, especially now when you get that free kick after a fair catch, you could place where you kicked that ball from.
Absolutely.
So, it's a big one.
That is a good one.
So now this also retains the offense retains this option after a dead ball foul or if the down is to be replayed. So you do get that if we have a replay of the down. So we had a replay the down. You can now come back and say, hey, I want it on the left hash now. Now, I'm going to tell you, Daniel, like I see the wheels going in your mind right now. There's a good amount of officials that are just going to place the ball down and go and blow the ready for play before you get that option. So just if you're going to do it, do it right away.
What you're saying here is I come out, I receive a fair catch.
Yep.
I go to the right hash. I go out, I run a play, or I attempt to run a play. The defense jumps off sides. It's a dead ball foul. I can now switch it to the left hash to run another play. That's what you're telling me?
Yes.
Woo. Okay. Well, you got to write all these down, don't you? You better have a whole plaque of just rules. That's going to be crazy.
Well,
coaches, when you start weaponizing and making defenses do stuff, then the defense definitely isn't going to do the same thing. They're on the wrong hash.
Yeah. Unless they have a field call.
Unless they have a field call.
So that one there, again, this one is always one of our test questions of knowing when we can move the spot. And again, typically we're not going to ask the coaches where they want it. I do ask the kickers for the kickoff, like, hey, where are you kicking from? Because I got to set myself up in that scenario. But yeah, we're kind of letting the coaches do this one and letting the coaches kind of try to see what they can get away with before we say, no, coach, we're going in the middle. So here's the question for you now, Daniel. You got a kickoff. The kickoff gets kicked out of bounds. What hash is that going to, or where is that ball getting placed?
The nearest hash.
Correct. And that one, a lot of coaches try to get put into the middle of the field, but it goes to the nearest hash of where it went out of bounds. All right. That is rule number 4. Like I said, nice short one right there.
In the book. Still stretched 45 minutes. Look. Bring me on. I'm going to ask questions.
All right. So once again, Daniel, truly appreciate coming on to the show, our post-Memorial Day show. So I hope you had a fantastic weekend yourself. And for everybody else that is out there, hope you had a nice, safe holiday. Hope you had better weather than we're having here in Jersey right now. It's pretty cruddy when we're recording this. Once again, I seem to find the days of rain to record episodes, but we didn't have any glitches this time. So Daniel, why don't you remind our listeners once again where they can find you, your social media tags, things like that?
Absolutely. You can listen to me talk on the Football Coaching Podcast with Joe Daniel. There's also the Coaching 101 podcast with me and Kenny Simpson. I am on Twitter /X at Coach Chambo OK. You can find me there sharing everything from OU sports. All things Oklahoma are going to be on there, along with my high school fun stuff. We'll share stats and all sorts of neat breakdown tricks and tips during the season. I have a consulting thing over at patreon.com/Chamberlain Football Consulting, and that's where you're going to be able to pick any tier that you like, or if there's not a tier there for something you need, DM me and I'll make you one. I don't care. I got youth football consulting over there. I do graphics consulting. I'll make your whole season of graphics, a whole year of graphics, whatever. There's kind of packages for everything. So I'm a guy that trying to make a side hustle here, Mike D.
Oh yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about there. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at Mike D the referee. Pretty much, that's going to be the tag all across the board: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Find those all those different spots. You could see some post production clips and different episodes there's and some reminders there. So hit those like buttons, hit those subscribe buttons, and that's it for rule number 4. So come back next week for rule number 5. And Daniel, I am going to warn you, after rule number 5 comes the favorite rule for everybody, the kick game in rule 6. So we got a short one in rule 5, and then rule 6, we're going to kind of take a little bit more time on that one.
Perfect.
So once again, thank you, and have a good day. There we go.